Hey fellas, your commissioner here, coming at you for a little week six of NFL action. Finally up to using both of my hands. Start off with the pretty pathetic showing from the Razorbacks. Lost the game, what was it, like 40 something to 20 something. Hold on, let me get the exact score of that pathetic team that's 3-3. Slowly, come on. 40-17. I'm sorry. I gave us too much credit. I thought that we had gotten to 20 points. We didn't. You expected this team, Mississippi State, to basically throw the ball at will on our team. They threw a wrench in that plan because we were doing the patented rush 3, drop 8 that really messed them up last year. They were ready for that this year. Shocking that we didn't have any adjustments, thinking that they might adjust to us. And we just proceeded to give up basically like 7 to 8 yards a carry pretty much every play. They could run it at will on us. They converted like 5 fourth downs on us because their kicker sucked. And they're like, well, whatever. These guys can't stop us 4 times in a row. And this is now the second year in a row where we've gone on a 3-game losing streak where 2 of those games we shouldn't have lost. I mean, it's ridiculous that this shit keeps happening. And you look, and the fact, like, the 3-game losing streak last year still was different than this year. I mean, the team was competitive in those games that they lost. I mean, we were semi-competitive against Bama, not really. We weren't competitive at all, against Mississippi State in this game. And it continues a trend of us just getting out-physicaled, which is Sam Pittman's whole MO of being the more physical, the more outwork, out-hustle team. And we aren't doing that. I mean, this is the sloppiest team I've seen since the John L. Smith era. And we're getting blown off the ball on offense and defense every fucking play. And if we can't do that, we're not going to do shit. I mean, this team is just extremely frustrating. Granted, expectations were probably too high, but if they keep playing the way that they've played the last 2 weeks, we will win maybe 1 or 2 more games the rest of the season. And there's got to be adjustments. There's got to be adjustments made by play calling. Bumper Pool sucks. He got the tackle record, great. I know it's what they were trying to get him to do, but he does not need to be an every down player for us. He's not good enough. He's washed. Get him off the field. But we don't really have anybody else behind him. I don't know. It's ridiculous. I don't know. The receivers, terrible. I mean, I really just refuse to believe that Treylon Burks made this much of a difference to our offense. And our offense has really been okay outside of this week. And we had a backup quarterback. I think if KJ plays, it's probably a lot more competitive of a game. But it's just really disheartening right now. I mean, going to play at BYU, they are a very good team. Their defense really isn't very good, so we should be able to put up points on them. But I think for us to win every week we win is, if we don't put up at least 30 points, we're not going to win. I mean, that's basically where we're at. And in some games, maybe even 40 is not enough. So, I don't know. I really hope they can right the ship, but optimistic Commish is dead. I mean, this team is just, I don't know. It's not good. It's not good. Something needs to change very quickly. I mean, and hey, if we go down and dominate BYU and get some momentum heading into the bye, then, maybe I'll change my tune. But as of right now, it's bullshit. So All right, next here we got our sour gumball game of the week between the Cataclysmic Catches and Razorback Revival, and my analysis was correct. Probably was going to be a blowout in favor of Wilson, and it sure as shit was. 143 to 105. Nick has now lost 4 straight games after starting the season 1-0. He's 1-4 on the season. Let me just take a quick gander here at. I don't believe that Nick has started that poorly, maybe ever. No. Even the season that he missed the playoffs. The only season he's missed. No, he's missed the playoffs. He's only missed the playoffs like once in league history, if I'm not mistaken, back in 2016. Even then, he was still, excuse me, 3-2 to start the year that season. This is his worst start to a season in league history for Mr. Nicholas. And I don't know. Really, you look at his scoring as well. It's not terrible. I mean, it's bottom half, bottom third of the league. Well, no, I take it back. It is pretty bad. The third lowest points for in the league. And he has what? The second highest points against? Yeah, third most points against and the third least points for, and that's how you end up 1-4. And I broke down the stats for y'all. Y'all can see it in the Hall of Records. There's only been one 1-4 team ever to make the playoffs. I believe that was Blaine a few years ago, if I'm not mistaken. It's pretty bad. Now, I will say, teams that go 2-4 to start the year have made the playoffs twice out of 32 attempts. So I mean, a paltry 6.25%. Granted, one of those teams was not 1-4 at any point. So of course, the team that was 1-4 became 2-4 and made the playoffs. But it's a long road ahead. I mean, and there are 4 teams now sitting at 1-4. Now, I think that this is probably the most 1-4 teams we've ever had at one point in the season. So that does favor teams of being able to try to sneak in to the playoffs. But it's really pretty pathetic from Nick. And he took a gamble on Trey Lance. It didn't pay off. He's having to roll the dice with Derek Carr. He's got all these stud wide receivers. Not been so good the last few weeks. Dalvin is a monster, but A.J. Dillon has been abysmal the last 3 weeks, really the whole season outside of week 1. And that's the only time Nick has won a game. And his bench, outside of Garrett Wilson and maybe Rondell, he really doesn't have anybody on his bench that he could play. He's got Zay Jones down there as well, waiting to be activated. I did have a question about that from another owner. You can keep a player who's not no longer out or on the IR in your IR slot for as long as you want. I mean, the only punishment is you're not allowed to make any free agent acquisitions while you have an ineligible player in your IR slot. So, Nick's fine. And granted, the waiver wire is pretty shit, the last couple weeks, because all of these waiver wire darlings everybody already has, because everybody's so sharp in this damn league that you can't get value from anybody. Kenneth Walker, LOL, go rush to the waiver wire, pick up Kenneth Walker. Yeah, bullshit. Kenneth Walker is drafted. What leagues don't draft Kenneth Walker? I'd love to play in those leagues. I'd love to just make money from playing with children and idiots who don't know what to do. Oh, go get Melvin Gordon. What are you guys talking about? Go get these guys. These guys are owned. Of course they're owned. I mean, every single, like, go get Jacoby Myers, go get all these guys every freaking week with the waiver wire articles. Like, these guys are owned. Like, you're giving guys that are 50%, and even guys that are 20% are owned in this league, because only 20% of leagues are actually smart, probably. And, his lone bright spot really is Dallas Goedert. Dallas Goedert's been his most consistent player. And I mean, for much in alignment to Carr, I mean, he still got 20 points. Shit, I'd love to get 20 points from my quarterback. We'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, you got to flip one of these wide receivers, Nick. You're an idiot. Don't be like Rip. I'll get to him too in a minute. Holding on to all these guys whenever you can only start 4 max, and you have potentially, if Rondale comes on, you have potentially 5 guys who could start. Flip him for a running back. You need it. You need it. You're not going to pull your team out of the gutter without it. So, and credit to Wilson. I mean, his best start of the year. I was going through some stats last night, and Wilson has started 2-4 or 2-5 almost every season, pretty much, since he's been in the league. So, conversely, Nick's worst start is Wilson's best start. I mean, 4-1. Never been done for him. He's never made the playoffs, looking very much like he will be making the playoffs for the first time in league history for him. Teams that go 4-1 to start the year, 72% of them go on to make the playoffs. And you look at that percentage since we've expanded to 6 teams, and I believe it's almost 100%. I think maybe one team has started 4-1 and not made the playoffs since we went to 6 teams. I don't have that stat yet. That stat will be coming in the years to come. As we move further along with the 6-team playoff and having this same core of guys, some of those earlier seasons will kind of get washed away. Just because the league, I'm going to be honest with you, the league was shitty back then, back in those early years we'll just pick an arbitrary year, pre-2015. It just wasn't good. I mean, and that's when Nick won 2 of his championships. In my mind, he really only has 1 legitimate title. The other ones, not so much. So the other 2, not so much. But whatever. His name is still on the trophy 3 times, but I guarantee you it won't be on that trophy this year. So the only trophy he might be seeing is horse ass. So, which I don't think he's a horse ass team, but basically at this point he's just here to play spoiler and not win horse ass. So, great. Like I said, good job, Wilson. You're doing great, buddy. Good job. Next here we got the Fat Bastards knocking off Savoy, 123 to 103. Savoy, his worst point total of the season, but still was able to crack 100. Really, outside of Austin Eckler, did his whole team did nothing. He got 36 points from Eckler, back-to-back huge weeks from him. Unfortunately for him this week, the rest of his team kind of let him down. Jamal did nothing. Thielen did nothing. Olave had a nice game. I mean, 18 points. He's been very good. He did get concussed. It was still able to hold on, kind of. I don't really think that was a touchdown, but whatever. Duvernay's been solid as a wide receiver 3 flex, but Dobbins has not been good and Robinson's not been good. So I'd be very worried if I was him, if I was Savoy, about that second RB. I don't know he's going to find much consistent production throughout the year. But hey, he should have Keenan Allen hopefully coming back this week. But yeah, I mean, this team's just not very good. It's just not very good. It's definitely a horse-ass team. This will not be one of the 1 teams that start 1-4 to make the playoffs. And, solid week from Ford, 123. Question marks with that running back room. But as the Lord taketh, the Lord also giveth. The fantasy gods also giveth. So, he took Javonte Williams from him, but he tore Rashad Penny's ankle in half to be able to give him Kenneth Walker. So, I think with him, Kenny and Clyde, he'll probably be able to cobble some stuff together. Pickens looks to be coming on. Diggs and Devontae are studs. Kyler, mediocre game against a tough defense, but he still got 20 points, And Njoku has been a beast so far this season. So, I really think that Ford is a contender. I think he's legit. Especially if Brian Robinson can come on strong here down the stretch for him and continue to eat into Gibson's workload. I really like to see, I think Ford is in a good position to be able to make a run. He just needs some more consistent production from Terry. But, people have been shitting on Terry, but shit, man. He's got, 12 points, 16 points, 12 points, 13 points. He's really only had one bad game, and that was against Dallas. So, I think he's going to be all right. And he's got a super, super late bye, so he's going to be able to ride him all the way throughout pretty much till the end of the regular season. Credit to Ford. He's 4-1, has won 3 in a row, and well on his way to locking up a playoff spot here in the next few weeks. The way that the rest of the league looks. So next year we got Kickers Lives Matter versus the Dirty Birds. Another great week for Duncan. He's put up 3 very, very respectable point totals in 5 games. Unfortunately, it's only resulted in 1 win for him. But he puts up the second highest point, fourth highest point total of the week. This time he was lucky to not have to be going against somebody who put up top 3. But Justin Jefferson, Josh Jacobs really carried the load for him. 60 points, accounted for almost half his production. Lazard has been good. Higbee's been a beast. Kareem Hunt got a tutty. We'll get to that in a minute. His bench is pretty thin as of right now, looking at week 5. But Eno looks to be pretty good, pretty solid. He's got Mixon. So, I think Duncan's all right. I don't think that Duncan is going to get horse ass. He could get hot and maybe make a run at one of those last playoff spots, but everything would have to go right, and they haven't. So it hasn't so far. So maybe this is the turning of a new leaf for Duncan. I'd like to see him in there. I think he's got a good team. I think he's got enough players that, his wide receiver room is pretty shit, actually, now that I look at it. I don't know how much you can bank on Lazard for consistent production, and Judy's been pretty hit or miss as well. But, and then that brings us to the Dirty Birds. Starts 2-3 on the season. Has lost 2 in a row now. Pretty shitty week. Barely, there was only 2 teams that were under 100 points by letter of the law, but there were still several teams that were right at that 100-point mark. Plunk was one of those. Kamara did bounce back, had a very good game, but his wide receiver room is just, let's call a spade a spade. It's been pretty dog shit. Jamar Chase has been extremely underwhelming for what you expect from him. He's basically doubled on every play. That allows T. Higgins to eat. That allows Hayden Hurst to eat underneath. Teams are basically just saying, hey, we'll let anybody else but Jamar Chase beat us. But, still 12 points is fine, but you need more than 12 points from your alpha number 1, should be top 5 guy. And Jamar Chase is not even in wide receiver 1 right now, ranking-wise. So, because he's been outside of week 1, that monster game, you're talking 10 points, 13 points, 12 points, 12 points. Hey, if that's your wide receiver 2, but you're paired with Stephon Diggs or Devontae Adams or somebody like that, Justin Jefferson, then sign me up. But that's not what Plunk drafted or kept him for. He lost Penny to the ankle. Done as the Lord giveth, the Lord taketh, right? He gave Plunk Melvin Gordon, and he now takes away Rashad Penny. You look at his bench, not good. Gus Edwards, maybe. That's going to be a timeshare mess whenever he comes back. Bateman's been hurt. Robinson's cut bait. Osborne, you never know what you're going to get. It's like a box of chocolates. Huntley, Naheem, concussed, might miss this week. Eli Moore has been extremely disappointing so far this season. Hasn't reached double digits in a single game this year. And that's your wide receiver too. So, and DJ Moore, who knows, man? Baker's bad. Maybe PJ can get him going, but Again, he's got all of his wide receivers are only giving him at best, 10 to 12 points a game, if that. Really, outside of Andrew, he needs Andrews, Lamar, and Kamara to basically carry his team and chase. And those 4 guys very well could. I mean, at one time, those guys all in their career all have the potential, and some still do, to be the number 1 at each of their positions. And that's a great way to get in the playoffs and win a title. Not out of the woods yet. Teams that go 2 and 3, it's happened 43 times in league history. Only 15 of them have ever made the playoffs, so about 35%. Conversely, teams that go 3 and 2, 31 times, 15 of them have made the playoffs. So, about a 50% clip you're talking about. So, pretty significant swing there. Teams that go 4 and 1, like I mentioned, 72%. If anybody can do it, I'm certainly not going to count Plunk out, but and I appreciate everyone in the league banding together, because I know, not for lack, he's not talked to me, but I know that not through lack of effort, he's been trying to trade. I would be stunned if he has not talked to a single owner about trying to make a trade. And credit to you guys for staying strong. Stay strong with him, all right? Don't give in to him. Don't give in to Nick. And let them suffer. It would be a great, beautiful sight. It would, oh my God, I might finish if Plunk and Nick, owners of the longest active playoff make streak in league history, if they both miss the playoffs in the same year. That would be, chef's kiss. Love it. You would love to see it. So anyway, both of these teams fighting for their lives at this point. So next here we got the best game of the week. It's like a long time, fellas, and I still got a lot. Oh shit, dude, 20 minutes already. Golly. Quickly here, Rip, great game from him. Should have won 153 to 154, 153.75 to 154.1, I believe. Maybe the closest matchup of the year, if not one of the closest matchups of the year. D-Shade's dead. He's down, 32 points going into Monday night. Rip has Waller. He has Kelsey. Kelsey has to outscore Waller by basically 33 points to be able to win. And Kelsey goes 7 for 25 and 4 touchdowns, while Waller injures his hamstring in quarter 1 and doesn't play again the rest of the game. So Rip's team's going to be fine. Henry's a beast, Brees is a beast, Tyreek's a beast, Cooper Kupp's a beast, Debo's a beast, Devontae's a beast, Jalen Hurts is a beast. Like, Rip's going to be fine. I honestly would have very, very much preferred. It is very funny that he lost. And let me just tell you right now, if you're thinking about trading Rip, don't even waste your breath. Don't even waste your finger muscles. Don't text him, because this guy doesn't know what players are valued at to save his damn life. This freaking guy. And it's every year with this guy. And this is why he's very, very fortunate and very, very lucky to even have the one championship that he has. Okay? If it wasn't for overtime and a miracle performance from the Green Bay Packers, his ass would not be what it is. Okay? He's riding high off of the Cooper Kupp and Deebo Samuel keeps, okay, great value, whatever. And his team is very good. But it's this hesitancy to not make a very good team even better. And granted, whatever. The trade, Alec Pierce for J.D. McKissick, it's not gonna move the needle for your team, okay? It's not. But it's your unwillingness to say that, to not be able to identify good players out there and just sit on your laurels and be content with the way your team is, say, I need running back depth. I need running back depth. I have 7 running backs. I need running back depth. I have Derrick Henry. I have Breece Hall. I have Devin Singletary. I have Alexander Madison. I have Kenneth Gainwell. I have J.D. McKissick. I have Latavius Murray. But I won't trade any of them for a wide receiver who probably would come in and be the 4th best, maybe 5th best wide receiver on your team. I mean, I just don't get it. I don't get it. You're never going to play J.D. McKissick ever. There's a legitimate world where you will play Alec Pierce. But to act like that's just the most ridiculous thing in the world, I don't get it. I don't get it. And this is the way this guy always is. This guy is Chapman. For those who know, the Prescott, Chapman, whatever the hell their name is, I don't know. I don't care. He just doesn't get it. He doesn't get it. And I forget every season. Every season I trick myself into thinking this is the year that Rip's going to be rational. He's going to make a legitimate trade. No muss, no fuss. And every year, egg on my face, it doesn't work out. It doesn't happen because this guy is just, he's so set in his ways. It makes no sense. It makes no sense. And that kind of thinking and that kind of managing is why you're going to be the 1 seed again. You're going to be the scoring champion again. And you're going to lose your first game coming out of the playoffs to some team who is scrapping and clawing, making moves, wheeling and dealing. And they're going to beat your ass week round in the semifinals of the playoffs. So, really, I wish you would have won because I wish D-Shade was 2-3 instead of 3-2. But whatever. Good job, D-Shade. You won. So. Next here, I need to hurry this up because I'm going to go off on my team for quite a minute here. It doesn't contribute, doesn't score points the 4th time in 5 games that he doesn't break 100 points. Cost him again. Mediocre game from JD, 111. He gets his first win of the year. Really outside of Lockett, Hollywood, and Burrow, just no production. Damian Harris is now out for a month. Najee sucks. He's got Raheem Mostert, very good. He's RB1 now for Miami. And Rachaad White's getting more work. But, JT and Najee and Raheem, you should be able to put something together there. But, again, this is not a playoff team, so don't even try. And Craig, terrible. Higgins gets hurt again, 0 points. Renfro sucks, 6.5 points. Zeke sucks, 7.8 points. Ramondre's good. At least you have, Ramondre and Jeff Wilson combined for 40 points. Lord. But whatever, CD, T. Higgins, Jacoby Myers, Jeff Wilson, not the name team. This is not the name team. This is not your grandpa's, your grandpa's team here is going to look at all these players and think that it's really good, but it is a decent team. He's still, he's 3-2, but if any of those teams, he's got the lowest amount of points scored in league history, not league history, this season. But whatever. I could very easily see him getting snatched by one of these other guys that are on the cusp. All right, and then that brings us to our dog shit, puke all over themselves, fall down, Leverett, wake up in the hospital ER room looking like Harvey Dent. Team of the week. Curse of the 101. 95 points. I'm going to round Craig up. Whatever, Craig. Guess what? You get an honorary round up to 100 points. Only team below 100 points this week. Started off on a very sour note on Thursday night with Russell, Mr. Limited with a shoulder. Because, this guy, hey, Broncos country. Let's die. Because that's what it makes me feel like. Curse of the 101 country. Let's die. Because this guy, talking all of his bullshit, got his concussion bubble waters, got the hurt shoulder, PRP injection, which apparently won't even do, doctors have said this will do nothing to help his injury at all. Just missing guys. Not even, who had KJ Hamler wide open to win the game? He doesn't look at him. He had Jerry Jeudy open for a 20-yard play. Doesn't look at him. I don't know if it's scheme. I don't know if it's Russ. It's probably a little bit of both. But this is just pathetic from Russ. This guy is, you ought to call him Russell Walshland because this guy is washed. He's cooked. He's done. He can't play anymore. And what sucks is that the Broncos have the easiest schedule quarterback-wise, position group-wise for the rest of the year. But guess what? He's going to have to be on my bench for almost all of those games because I can't trust the guy. It's all about trust. I can't trust him. All right? I can't trust this team that has been underperforming now 2 weeks out of the last 3 of scoring under 100 points. And you just look down the roster. James Conner, gets hurt again mid-game and doesn't play basically the whole second half. This is now the second or third time that's happened this year. McCaffrey's finally unlocked. Great. Sutton, again, you take away a bully ball that he took from one of his teammates. He was looking at a 4 for 20 game. Denver, 4 for 20. You get it? And Christian Kirk has just disappeared. Every single week, his production has dropped. Guess what he's going to do next week to follow up this 2.1? Probably a goose egg. He's probably going to get a goose egg. Brandon Cooks looks cooked. He has been terrible. He's getting out-targeted, outperformed by Nico Collins. Just refused to throw him the ball. I guess teams are taking him away. I don't know. Gerald Everett, terrible, 1.2 points. And we just wasted Gabe Davis's best game he's probably going to have all season. 32.1 points, 3 catches, 171 yards, 2 touchdowns. And we don't break 100 points with that. If you ever get 30 points from a position player and you fail to score 100 points, you should be punished. You should be stripped of something. I don't know. Maybe you should be stripped naked and paraded in the streets like Cersei Lannister. Shame. Because that's the way I feel right now about this bullshit that this team continues to put out. Yes, they're capable of putting up 130 points a week, but they're also very capable that high ceiling, low floor, because this shit is not going to cut it. And I've been just biding my time. Swift is hurt again, whatever. Out the last 2 weeks, gonna be out this week on a bye. Michael Thomas doesn't like to play football. He got a clipped toenail wrong, and he doesn't want to play for 2 fucking weeks. Freiermuth is now in concussion protocol, which with the new concussion protocol, you're going to be out for a month probably. Wandale doesn't play. I picked up Devontae Parker. Why? I don't know. He got 0 points. And it's just pathetic. I need something from my team. These are good players that are on this team, guys. You listen to me now. My teammates, listen to me. You are good players. Start fucking acting like it and performing, because this team could easily be 5-0. But you're not. And credit to Blaine, whatever. Outside of Saquon, Pierce, and Josh Allen, no production from his team. His wide receiver room is just in shambles right now. St. Brown should be healthy after the bye. That'll help. Hopkins will be coming back here in a couple weeks. That'll help. McKenzie will be back. That'll help. But, yeah, Blaine's 3-2 is a huge win for him. Huge win to keep it from going 2-3. And, yeah, I'm 3-2. Still fine. Team's probably going to be fine. Be all right. But, yeah, I want my team to know that I'm not happy with this shit that I've seen 2 of the last 3 weeks. I'm not happy with it. I'm not standing for it anymore. Optimistic Commish died. He died this week, and he's gone. Okay, he's gone. No more Mr. Nice Guy. Okay? I'm going to give it to you real raw whenever this shit happens. So, all right, moving on. We had our fourth trade of the year today, right before waivers ran. Made a deal to acquire, full disclosure, I basically shopped Alex Pierce to over half the league. I talked to JD, I talked to D-Shade, I talked to Craig, I talked to Rip, I talked to Duncan, I talked to Blaine. There's 6 guys right there, right? So half the league. Over half because I have to take myself out of it, so 7 if you include myself. Finally came to agreement with Duncan to send him James Conner and Alec Pierce for Kareem Hunt. Love Conner's matchup this week. I think it's a get-right game for him, but I just can't take the risk with his rib injury of having to start Josh Kelly or Tevin Coleman or Samaje Perine or Jerick McKinnon. I couldn't take that risk. Nick's a bad team, but he's not that bad, okay? So Cleveland has the hardest remaining running back schedule for the rest of the year, so that was a great choice. Try to get him to throw in Burks or Boyd. He wouldn't budge. He's a tough negotiator, that Duncan. Should probably got him a little high first, but time was of the essence. Thought I had to deal with Blaine for Akers, and then he decided to back out. So, he thought about it a little bit more after the initial intrigue. Almost had a deal for what's his face, Gibson. If Gibson wasn't playing on Thursday, probably would have made that deal, to be perfectly honest. But I didn't want to have to make that call yet. So, anyways, upside for me, Kareem Hunt potentially could still get traded. If Chubb goes down, I mean, he's going to be a beast. I really do believe in Connor. It's probably a fool to still believe in him, but what can you do? You got to believe in your guys. I believe in my guys, sometimes to a fault. And I really think Alec Pierce will be a solid, great floor guy, 10 points per game guy, which Duncan needs. I mean, Duncan needs multiple guys to try to make a run and try to just keep himself out of horse ass. So I think it was a great trade for him. I mean, as of right now, I think that he had won the trade. This was more of a short-term look for me. I'm trying to win this week and then bank on, going forward that, I'll have McCaffrey and I'll have Swift basically carrying the load and then fill out the rest of the roster with wide receivers from there. So, a couple pickups we had this week. Tunyon went for 16, quite a high bid for him. Let's see what the waiver report is on that. There was not a single other bid on Robert Tunyon. But hey, got to get your guy. A lot of people have money to blow. People have been tight with their checkbook this year, and I think that's also part of due in fact to there's really not been a big splash guy to be able to pick up this season so far. Had a $15 bid in there on Taysom. Of course, he got Tunyon, so that canceled out. Savoy picked up Taysom Hill, which shit, dude. At this point, why not? Why not throw him in there? It's better than anybody else he's got there at tight end. A couple people were in on Taysom, Shade, Blaine, both failed bids. I got in on Josh Kelly. Nobody was in on Josh Kelly, so way overspent. I bumped my budget up like $6 on him this morning, so that was cool. Claypool, nobody was in on Claypool either, so cool. Could have got both of those guys for $1. That's fun. Tevin Coleman. Nothing. Most of these are failed bids. But I mean, I had like 10 bids on different guys today. Just contingencies on contingencies on contingencies on contingencies. To try to cover my bases, just because I don't know. I didn't know what you guys would do. So, DJ Dallas gets picked up, a little insurance for Ford. McKinnon goes, Cobb goes. So, a few people were in on James Cook. A few people were in on no, nobody else. Okay. So let's go ahead and get into a preview of this week's matchups here. We'll start off with myself versus Razorback Revival. I'm projected to win 120 to 111 at the moment. Some easy matchups and some prime spots and some tougher ones and some others. A little bit of a mixed bag. We're rolling with Geno this week. He is now our official quarterback. Just can't trust Russ. Can't. I mean, Russ needs to put together like 4 or 5 good games in a row for me to trust him, except maybe on the buys. Kirk Cousins in a non-primetime game, he's always scary. I think that Nick does have some pretty good matchups this week. Should have a very good point total. I think Nick's team wasn't, or my team wasn't so great a few years ago. We played, and we ended up being the high scoring, second highest scoring team that week. Of course, I played him needing to win. He didn't need a win at that stage, and he got it. He needs a win this week. I need a win this week. So I think it's going to be very close. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I probably would bet the over in this game. But I do like myself to come out on top and officially put the nail in Nick's coffin. Because teams that go 1-5 never make the playoffs. So be on alert. These teams that are all 1-4, you lose this week, you're done. I mean, you're done. You're not going to make the playoffs. That's just a fact. It's a fact. So it's science. All right, it's science. All right, next here we got Dirty Birds of War versus Cooter Gang. Again, I mean, must win for both of these teams. Plunk sitting at 2-3. If he falls to 2-4, teams that go 2-4, as I mentioned earlier, only 2 times out of 32 have they gone on to make the playoffs. 6% clip, so 6% of those teams. So huge. And JD, I mean, he's trying to stay within that last glimmer of hope. Because one more loss, and like I said, he's done. I think that JD should have some pretty good performances this week. Hollywood just absolutely feast against Seattle, and conversely, I mean, you look at Plunk's big guys. Cincinnati's a very good defense. The Giants are a very good defense this year as well, and Lattimore will be on Chase. I think Plunk might be staring a 3-game losing streak here in the face, very, very really, very, very seriously here. I'm going to go with JD in that one. I'm going to go with JD to pull off the upset and keep his playoff hopes on life support and officially put Plunk's on life support as well. Next here we got Doesn't Contribute versus If You Lose to Me, You Really Suck. Craig's projected to win this one 115-97. Savoy, we'll put Taysom Hill in there as a bye week. What the hell? Who knows? At this point, desperation. Why not? I don't hate it at all. Better than putting in Irv Smith or Logan Thomas. That's for certain. Taysom Hill will go in there. So that'll make it 115-103. Still, he picked up Mike Boone as well. I don't think that he has the firepower. It's going to come down to Monday night. I mean, half his team is playing on Monday night, so he's going to probably be sitting there after Sunday with maybe 40 points. He's probably going to be sitting with 40 points going into Monday night. But shit, man, as you can see, you never know. I'd be scared to death if I was Craig. And the way Craig's not putting up points. He's got some hit spots. His studs should put up some good production this week, but I think this might be another week under 100 points for old Craigley. And if that Monday night game goes well for Savoy, I think Savoy's going to win it. I really do. I think Savoy does win it. I think Savoy gets his second win. His team sucks. No, I'm going to go with Craig. We're going to go with Craig. He's going to score less than 100, Craig, again, but he's going to win. So, might be an under, which 115-103 when Savoy sets his lineup, picking an under on that. But it wouldn't shock me. It would not shock me. Next here we got probably what's going to piss a lot of people off of what they think should be the game of the week, but I don't give a shit. Rip. Discount double check and cataclysmic catches 122-121. Two teams that are 4-1 on paper should be the game of the week, to be perfectly honest with you. But I don't care. It's not. It's not the game of the week. We'll see what Rip can get out of Dubs this week. He's not going to put Dubs in there. Tyreek's healthy. He's going to play. He does have Tunyon filling in the bye week for Darren Waller. See if he can score more than Waller can. And then, Henry is on bye this week for him. So, but, pretty juicy matchups for Rip. I think that Wilson might come back down to reality a little bit this week. Don't love his matchups. Don't love the matchups for him. I think I'll go with Rip there to keep it rolling, get to 5-1, and put a little damper on Wilson. But Wilson's still going to be all right, sitting at 4-2. So, and then our penultimate matchup here: Kickers Lives Matter versus Shade's Dynasty. Duncan again fighting for his life. Shade, it would be a huge win for him to get to 4-2 as well. 118-116, 117. Shade is projected to win. It's really a toss-up. Of course, Duncan is slotting in Pierce and James Conner right away. I think if Conner plays, honestly, it might even be better for Duncan if Conner doesn't play, so Eno would be the guy. But, he doesn't have Josh Jacobs, who's been probably, one of the steals, honestly, of the draft so far this season. But yeah, I just, oh man, I think Shea comes back down to reality a little bit. I'm gonna go with Duncan in that one. We'll go with Duncan. Close one, close. I think the line's right there. It's basically a pick 'em. All right, so that brings us to our game of the week. Our why not? Our let me get this up so I can see. Our TheraBreath Fresh Breath Oral Rinse game of the week. TheraBreath, it's dentist formulated, professional formula powered by oxygen. You can see that there. There it is. Yeah, powered by oxygen with xylitol. I think that's probably something that's like gum, right? Like xylitol gum, or I don't know, maybe I'm just making that up. Fights bad breath for 24 hours. Works instantly to target bad breath, germs. No alcohol, no artificial flavors, no colors. Non-burning. Gonna call a little flag on that one. I think it does burn a little bit, but it's invigorating icy mint flavor. They do have other flavors. It is ADA accepted, so that means you can pull your wheelchair up and still have this stuff and not get pulled over by the popo. Made just for you, TheraBreath. Our guarantee to you. Your satisfaction with every TheraBreath product is guaranteed or your money back if you are not completely satisfied. Please contact us for refunds. So that's cool. This guy, Harold Katz, made this. I guess it's maybe Big Katz, Dan Katz's grandfather. Father probably. He made it in 1993. This picture looked a lot older than 1993. I'd assume that this has been around since the early 1800s as a snake oil salesman. Maybe once started this. But anyway, yeah, some ingredients here. You got agua, water, some glycerin, so stuff that blows up. Hydrogenated castor oil, hydroxide, yeah, a bunch of cool stuff. So anyway, TheraBreath, the official oral rinse of the Bring That Wood Fantasy Football League. Cheers. One capful. Had a little spill there. Left a little bit in the cap, you know. So anyway, don't look at the time to see if that was a minute or not. Close enough. It did burn a little bit, so I'm gonna have to ask for a refund, I think, on that. But anyway, that's the Swamp Donkeys and the Fat Bastards. Woo! This is a long video. Quickly here, Josh Allen, Kyler Murray. I think both are primed for huge games. We're gonna go with Josh Allen in that one. Battle of the running back, you got Saquon Barkley and Travis Etienne versus Kenneth Walker and Clyde Edwards-Helaire. Got to go with the best guy in that one. That's Saquon, no doubt about it. Battle of the wide receiver, you got Diggs, McLaurin, and Pickens versus Ayuk, McKenzie, and Cage. Yuck. We'll go with Ford in that one. Battle of the tight end, you got Njoku versus Johnson. Shit, dude, Blaine, man. Kyle Pitts will be back. He'll put Pitts in there. But we'll still go Njoku. And then Battle of the Flex, you got Cam Akers versus Brian Robinson. This is pretty ugly. I think both of these guys suck. So right now, anyway, I think Brian Robinson will be better, but we're going to go under in that one. Push that one. I'm sorry. We're going to push that one. So Blaine is projected to lose 106 to 108. Very low scoring. I'm pretty surprised by that. I mean, granted, you look at these names and they're pretty shit. I mean, the fact that Blaine is having to trot out there, Russell Gage out there is a little scary. I still would probably take the over in that one, though. So, anyways, I'm going to go with Blaine in that one. I think Blaine finds a way. I think Josh Allen has a monster game against Kansas City and gets to 4-2. So, anyway, Hogs are playing at BYU this week. Should be a tough one. Should be a fun one, hopefully. Whatever, we're going to lose. So, anyway, that's all I got this week, fellas. So, y'all stay safe. Good luck. And as always, woo pig.